Greetings from South Texas, Mexico. I wanted to make this little video clip here to give you a little story about the providence of God that was just too long to try to put it in the newsletter, but it has to do with our acquiring a car for Brother Javier, my right-hand man across the border. But first of all, once again, I want to thank Brother Bruce Roberts and Brother Ken Taylor and Brother Mike Schaefer and their churches for getting this car for Javier. It's a much needed car. It wasn't just something wanted. It was something that definitely was needed. His car was continually on a mechanic's rack, and it was just using so much oil. He literally kept a case of oil in his car at all times. That's how much it was going through oil. And it was a blessing that was greatly appreciated. But I want to tell you what happened in the process, because it wasn't easy finding this car. There were different people that were helping us look around the country and just to find a good car, economical car, one that's, needless to say, used but doesn't have all that many miles on it, and be dependable and wasn't going to cost an arm and a leg. In the economy we're living in now, it's just not an easy thing to do. But Brother Ken Taylor was able to come up and found a Nisson Pathfinder up in the Northern Virginia area. And so, God helping us, we were able to go up and get it and bring it back down for Javier. All of this being done as a surprise to Javier. I did not tell him that we were trying to get him a car, because I didn't want to get his hopes up, and I didn't know what we were going to be able to find and when we'd be able to get it. I mean, just so many variables there. And so I was going to surprise Javier with the car. And we got it back to the border here recently, just a couple weeks ago. Well, after getting it back to the border, after a couple days, I contacted Javier because the prison in Reynosa, where we minister, their anniversary service is actually this coming Saturday on the 29th. And we're providing the food, the chicken, the beans, the rice, the soft drinks. And so I needed to know where Javier was, because I wanted to send him the money to be able to buy the things on the other side of the border, rather than buying them here and then taking them through customs, going across the border. And I was going to send the money Western Union, so I needed to know where he was. If he was in Matamoros, I needed to send it there. If he's in Reynosa, I needed to send it there. Well, I contacted him, and when I did, he messaged me back immediately, and he says, I'm here in Alton on your side of the border. And I'm thinking, well, Alton's only a couple little towns away from us, and I was wondering, what's he doing in Alton? So I asked him, like, what are you doing in Alton? And he says, I just bought me a car. And I wrote back, in big caps, no, don't tell me you just bought a car. And he sent me a picture, of a car. And I said, Javier, you have just bought the car? He says, yes. He says, I gave the man the money. And I said, where are you? And he was with the little dealership. It's a used car dealership. I don't know what they're like up north, but down here they're all over the place, where no background checks, no credit checks. I mean, anybody and everybody can go in off the street and buy a car. Interest is probably 20%, but nonetheless, you'll leave there with a car. And I asked him, I said, have you already signed papers? He says, no. He says, I'm with the man. I gave him the money, but I haven't signed the papers yet. And I said, Javier, do not sign any papers. And so I then sent him the pictures of the Pathfinder. Well, needless to say, they got all excited. And his wife was literally jumping up and down, gloria a Dios, gloria a Dios, gloria a Dios, just thanking God, that they got a car. And so the surprise was up. He was in the man's office getting ready to sign the papers when I contacted him. Well, he came immediately over to the house. He to see the car, and he was just thrilled with it. And I asked him. I said, Javier, I said, did the man believe you when you told him, how this came about? And he just kind of laughed. He says, I really don't believe he did. He thought Javier was just backing out on the deal. And but God is so gracious. God is so good. And he literally, I would have been the one to have gotten a surprise, because I was going to be giving Javier the car 2 days after the time I spoke to him. And if I had found out he bought a car 2 days before we had a chance to give it to him, needless to say, we all would have been surprised. But God kept him from doing it. God had me contact him literally at the time he was getting ready to set pen to paper, and kept him from doing it. God's so good. We appreciate you all again for the blessings that you've been to us, the graciousness you've shown to us over the years. It's been 33 years now that we've been ministering here in Mexico, and about 32 of those years have been in the prisons. And we just thank you so much for it, and ask you to, if you can't do anything else, one thing you can do is you can remember to pray not only for us, but for your missionaries that are out on the foreign field. And always remember, God knows where you're at, what you're doing. His providential care is over you. Just keep yourself where the Lord can move on your behalf. God bless you all. Until next time.